Hey, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be watching why moose are the greatest threat to national security, and I think this is going to be a good one. If you do get a chance, I'd appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch, and I will have Casual Geographic's video linked in my description below, so be sure to go and like and subscribe to him. He does an amazing job. All right, let's check out what is going on with these moose.
Moose are one of those animals. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that you could look at this picture 900 times and a 901st will still put bricks in your pants. Also, fun fact, this picture's probably the reason you even know I exist. One of the first animal videos I ever made was dedicated to how much of a middle finger this was to my peace of mind. What was true back then is still very much true today. At up to 1,700 pounds and 7 feet tall, at the shoulders, the moose is always going to be one of those animals I forgot to put a size cap on. Moose
I love them though. I think they are so cool. They are a little scary though. They are a little scary. So I will, I will definitely, not be effing around and finding out with them. But I absolutely love them.
are part of the Capreolinae deer family. Only problem is this roy deer is closer in size to an elephant than to a full-grown Bambi. And because you probably think I'm lying, the largest Alaskan moose ever caught was 1,808 pounds and 10 feet tall if you count the antlers.
Oh my gosh.
But why wouldn't you? Moose are broken in many.
Yeah. We should take that into consideration. But they are massive though. They are massive. But I just, if I knew I wasn't gonna get gorged or trampled or something, I would hug one.
Anyways, but
I would boop it.
the most obvious is how god big they are.
I think I better
Big boy.
I can't back up that fast, can I?
Uh-oh.
The problem with being built like a truck with antlers is that very few things in nature have the ability or the audacity to ever try to check you. And while moose calves are obviously vulnerable to predators, there just aren't enough things in the world that are bold enough, desperate enough, or stupid enough to want smoke with a full-grown bull moose. And while wolves might hunt them, even a wolf pack will hesitate to test a healthy male moose's ability to turn you into past tense.
I bet they would. They are not dumb. I mean, they might assess the situation maybe and then make a decision from there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you were to go for this, he's gonna take some with you.
Wolves might hunt them, even a wolf pack will hesitate to test a healthy male moose's ability to turn you into past tense. And as solitary hunters that occasionally get their pushed in by smaller animals like the guanaco, most cougars won't even bother with a full-grown moose. In some places, grizzly bears have been known to murk adult moose, but when the only thing in your area code that has even a chance at humbling you is literally one of the largest predators on the planet, that is a problem. And if you're 10 feet tall, pushing 2,000 pounds, wearing tree branches for a hat, a bear isn't going to try you unless it's its last possible option. Which is why one of the biggest threats to a healthy, full-grown, aggressive bull moose is an even bigger, aggressive bull moose. And that's because in what I can only describe as a dick move from nature, the same antlers that help it get laid are often what gets it laid to rest. Sometimes fighting males will get their antlers locked together, and that's basically a death sentence.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Gosh, they're so impressive looking though.
Those two moose that are stuck together and can't break free will either starve to death, die of exhaustion, or a lucky bear will find them and take the 2 for 1. Exhibit A, these are 2 male moose that got locked together and ended up freezing in a lake. And
oh my god, they got frozen in the lake. That is crazy.
Take the 2 for 1. Exhibit.
That is wild. Oh my, I don't know what I would do if I stumbled across this. I honestly don't know what exactly I would. I guess for one, be like, I'm sorry this happened, and then 2, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you were starving, maybe then you try to maybe do something about it, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I ever came across this.
Today, these are 2 male moose that got locked together and ended up freezing in a lake. And speaking of lakes, moose can swim. Because of course they can.
Of course they can.
Who told them a moose somehow figured out there's a good amount of food in lakes, so they'll dive up to 20 feet down to feed on the aquatic plants and vegetation at the lake bottom. As better swimmers than me, it's really not uncommon to see a moose swimming in an inlet connected to the sea or phelpsing between islands as they search for food. And at this point, you probably know exactly what direction this video is about to go in. Because this right here is how this ends up happening. Because the moose is basically defenseless in the water, and because orcas always choose violence, the killer whale is the only known marine predator of the moose. To be fair, Greenland sharks have been found with moose remains in their stomach, but for my mental health, we're gonna assume the moose were already dead. But the truly messed up part is the only reason the moose even put themselves in this position is because they were looking for food. It's like finding a shortcut to Stop and Shop and then getting clapped in the car at a red light on the way there. And since orcas don't see humans as a reliable food source, at least once in the history of mankind, some guy lived through this and probably never slept well ever again.
I bet he didn't. I bet he didn't. I bet that probably gave him nightmares and had a lot of questions. I'm sure.
Also, his therapist drives a Bentley, and that's basically a walking snowplow. An adult moose can sprint through 6 feet of snow at about 15 miles per hour. Those numbers might not mean much to you, but I can personally guarantee.
No, that's impressive. 15 miles per hour in that deep of snow. I would say that is impressive. That's very impressive.
Through 6 feet of snow at about 15 miles per hour. Those numbers might not mean much to you, but I can personally guarantee you this video will. Now ask yourself what's scarier, this moose running through snow or what in the possible it could be running from. And then there's this.
What
I don't even really
hell?
know how to describe this. Two options, either the water's shallow or that's Jesus Christ in moose form. The Messiah,
Moose
if you will.
Jesus.
For an animal that's dead-ass big enough and tall enough to have its own Wi-Fi, moose can sprint at top speeds of 35 miles per hour. Usain Bolt at his best maxed out at just under 28 miles, meaning not even he could run from the smoke. Now there's probably two reasons why you.
I mean, they are impressive animals. They're so impressive. He's hauling ass.
Maxed out at just under 28 miles, meaning not even he could run from the smoke. Now there's probably two reasons why you've never seen a moose run at top speed. Well, number one, when you're built like a tree with legs, there isn't a whole lot in the world you need to run from. And number two, anyone that manages to motivate a several hundred-pound moose into breaking an Olympic record probably isn't going to be alive to talk about it. In a country with bears, cougars, and Florida, the most dangerous animal of all is a 10-foot vegan with antlers. But it's not really their fault. Moose are deer, and as a rule, deer are just menaces to society. In America, deer cause
Also
about
true.
1 million car accidents a year and about $1 billion worth of damage to add on top of it. And the moose.
Let me know if you've ever hit a deer, because like I feel this. We have kind of hit a deer, I guess. But it was could have been a lot worse situation that we had. But yeah, deer are scary though, because they, are so unpredictable. And like when you drive by them, I feel like that's the scariest part, because it's like, are they gonna just hop in front of you? Are they gonna run into the side of your car? Or are they just gonna be normal and just run off, because that's what you want them to do? But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, and then they just dart right into traffic, and then it's a whole thing. So if you have hit one, let me know your experience about how, I'm sure crazy it was. And if you haven't, be thankful. And if you do ever have to drive somewhere where there are deer, be very, very careful.
Moose is by far the worst deer to hit. On a scale from 1 to absolutely your bunkmates would whine seeing if this antlered Grim Reaper is ever on the road with you. They say you should never swerve to avoid hitting an animal 95% of the time, because you can lose control of your vehicle and end up hitting something way worse. That 5% is reserved for when this is on the road, because if your choices are hitting a moose or swerving, then your next choices are opened or closed casket. And because moose are so disrespectfully tall, hitting a moose often means taking out its legs. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. The only problem is moose are so goddamn big that they can often fall through your windshield and then put you on a headline.
God.
The worst part is, because they're so tall, their eyes don't reflect in your headlights the way they would for a normal sized deer. That, combined with their blatant disregard for anyone else's life, means in moose country you can easily go from a person to a pack faster than you can brake. According to the internet, if you're about to hit a moose, the best advice is to slow down, don't swerve, and pray to whoever you believe in. Just know that if it ever comes down to your car versus a moose, the moose might walk away, but you're not coming out of there without wings and a halo. But of course, moose don't need to be on the road to put you on a stretcher, and this is what makes them worse than the cougars and bears of the world. Predators like mountain lions or grizzlies don't normally see humans as happy meals, so most encounters are either territorial because some dude was either unlucky enough or stupid enough to get too close to their cubs.
That is true.
These guys are different.
They woke up and chose violence. Yep.
Different as in they'll river dance all over your back, and they don't really need a reason to do it. As big as they are, they're still a very much valuable prey animal, especially if they're young.
Oh my God, this wolf is just like, I am sorry. I am sorry. I got too close. The bear is just, running for its life, but the face on this wolf is like, I am so sorry.
Or sick. And due to the generational trauma of being constantly hunted, moose are naturally wary, which makes them much more likely to attack unprovoked. It gets worse when people forget that they only have one chance at life and attempt to waste it by feeding a moose.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stories of people that have like fed fed and kind of like hung out with moose, and it has ended badly. It has ended badly. And it'll be like years and years, like the moose always comes back and they feed it and everything's fine. And then it's like one day, I don't know if that moose was just having a bad day or whatever, but then gorged, dead. It's, it's like you just got to be really careful, or you just leave them alone. You respect them, give them their space, leave them alone.
This often leads not just moose but wild animals in general to associate humans with food, and with association comes expectations. A moose that's constantly been fed by humans is only going to expect food whenever it sees them. In a moose's head, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And failing to meet a moose's expectations is exactly how heaven gains angels. But a moose is at its most volatile when it's in rut. For those of you that don't know what rut is when male animals like camel or deer experience a surge in testosterone, which causes them to become more aggressive and more interested in mating. And for those of you that already know what rut is, I know how you know. And for moose, this surge in testosterone turns them into 10-foot frat boys on spring break, and sometimes they cause just as much damage. Every year in America and Canada, people visit the emergency room because they got too close to a moose, and that moose decided to play hopscotch on their back.
I'm sure. You know what? I don't know what else you would do in this situation. Go in there and just hope he goes away. I feel like I am not a threat. I am not a threat.
Sometimes moose cut out the middleman completely and just pull up to hospitals themselves.
Oh my gosh. You just gotta stay calm. Nobody freaks out to freak him out.
Because moose are such a roadblock on the highway of life, once upon a time the USSR actually tried to domesticate these deer on steroids and then ride the tanklers into battle on a moose cavalry. Results were mixed. Once again, as a animal, the moose were naturally terrified of gunfire, and many of them refused to allow themselves to be ridden into battle. Not to mention the moose were much more susceptible to diseases and much harder to feed than horses, so yeah, it was up for that. But there had to have been one kid that joined the military to pay for college only to have his ops pull up on a whole ass moose. If we're being honest here, that story just says more about the Soviet Union than it does about the moose.
So true, so true. I mean, it's not bad thinking. It's not bad thinking. It's just, certain animals are better for battle than others. And I could see how the moose could be a good choice for that. But at the same time, there's other factors that go into it. Like being scared of gunfire is probably going to be a huge disadvantage.
Last moose. If we're being honest here, that story just says more about the Soviet Union than it does about the moose. Back to the moose. Are overgrown all-terrain vehicles with legs, antlers, and audacity, and probably the reason Canadians are so polite. They're landlords of moose and they pay taxes to geese. You'd be humble too. Pretty sure this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to tell y'all to subscribe. Have a nice day.
Well, yeah, isn't this like when they're like shedding, like they it's kind of, they shed their antler stuff.
Alright, so moose drop their antlers every year but grow them back in the spring because they use them to flex for females. And at first the antlers grow inside this soft skin with tiny hairs called velvet. But eventually the moose has a surge of testosterone where they basically become 7-foot frat boys on spring break. That's when the velvet sheds and the bones of the antlers harden. The velvet stays on the antlers for about 3 to 4 months until the moose rubs up against trees and bushes to remove them. Which is why they look like they bundied somebody. As much of a hate crime as this looks like, it doesn't hurt the moose at all, and it's a lot like snakes shedding their skin.
Yeah. I was like, I know it has something to do with that. I just know that like in passing, but it does look a lot more crazy than it is for them though, because I mean, this looks like very grotesque, I guess, in a way of like, oh gosh, like what is being exposed here? But it is good that it doesn't bother them or hurt them or, it's not anything painful for them.
Somebody. As much of a hate crime as this looks like, it doesn't hurt the moose at all, and it's a lot like snakes shedding their skin. If anything, it's more like an annoying itch. Also, when a bull moose wants to pull a female, they use cologne just like you and me. Except their version involves digging a pit, peeing into the pit, and then rubbing and splashing a golden pool all over their antlers the R. Kelly way. Clearly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I did not know that. And I could have gone my whole life without knowing that. It's just a pee party, I guess. Okay.
They know what they're doing because smelling liquid sunshine causes the female moose to ovulate because nature's just weird like that.
Oh, very weird. This was great. I enjoyed this video. I liked all the quick facts too, because that's always kind of nice in some of these segments that he has. I know this is an older video, but I still think it's good. It's great. And I know very mundane things, I guess, about moose. moose meese. I don't know. Like what is the plural of moose? Mooses? Moose. Either way, this was great. He did a fantastic job. I mean, like, I know that you got to be really careful, be respectful. I guess, try to keep them calm so then they don't want to come after you. If they have kind of deer mentality when you're driving, I pray for you because, you just never know what's going to happen, but you just got to be careful out there. But this is a great video. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Be sure to go and like and subscribe to Casual Geographic. He does just an amazing job. I absolutely love his channel, so be sure to give him lots of support. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you in the next one.